Today's Brews news is going to be packed with stories that are meant to change the way you think about beer. Not that we're not talking about that every other week, but what happens when a legendary rock band brews a non-alcoholic beer, or when Costco teams up with one of the best craft breweries to create a barrel-aged stout.
Yeah.
That is apparently pretty good, so I got to find that one.
Gotta get a Costco membership for that one. Some friends.
I thought you did have one.
I don't know. We keep getting charged, but they keep charging a card that expired like a year ago. We don't even know how they're doing it. It's very perplexing. It's got to be the same card. We haven't updated it, but yet we keep getting a charge, and we're like, we don't know how.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sorcery.
Yeah, that's all right. Last but not least, Sam Adams often pops up into the brewery news. Well, they're back into it, and we're talking about their infamous utopias, and they're banned in 15 states. But why?
But why?
But why? We don't have time for questions.
We're also diving into a fascinating study about why some of us are born to crave a beer. It's not my fault. I was born this way. And of course, we'll shine light on the beers making this holiday season unforgettable. This is the kind of news you don't want to miss because it's about beer. And that's nice.
And that's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. So let's do it. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's fucking go.
Okay, so first up in the brew news, we mentioned rock bands and non-alcoholic beers. And Costco is also debuting a special barrel-aged stout.
That is alcoholic.
That one is alcoholic for sure.
Just to not be confusing.
But if any of you are close-ish to our age, then you're definitely familiar to Deftones.
The Deftones.
They were definitely pretty popular in high school for me and beyond. But they're producing, collaborating on an NA beer release. Apparently, this isn't the first time they do it, but it's called Tone Zero, and it's a Japanese-style rice lager.
Cool.
Apparently, they got the memo about the year of the lager as well. And who doesn't love a Japanese-style rice lager? We'll hear later that Damien does.
Yeah.
He was all about the light, crispy Asian lagers.
They're delicious.
Let's see. So they partnered with Drink Sip, which is marking a significant departure from their previous alcoholic offerings. Not totally sure what that is, but the band is aiming to provide a flavorful beer experience in this Japanese rice lager that is an NA. And they're all about that NA movement as well. I know a lot of them have gone through their trials and tribulations, as a lot of artists do, especially in the music world. So good for them, taking the bull by the horns and persevering with an NA movement.
I wonder if it's easier or harder to make a good tasting lager NA versus like a stout or an IPA. Wonder which one's harder. I would almost think a lager, but there's also less alcohol to have to remove. But like I would kind of think a lager.
Yeah. And as we know, like if you mess up a lager, like it's pretty obvious that you aren't doing other things well.
Maybe it's harder.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you.
Yeah.
On that as well. I mean, if you can do that right, you can pretty much do any part of brewing right if you're doing the lagers. So
that's why
I like it.
I don't know.
Okay, so as I also said, Costco is releasing a limited barrel-aged stout. So they're getting into the craft beer scene. Good for them. I'm actually surprised it took them this long, but it's a Kirkland Signature Vintage Ale. Everybody knows that logo. You can spot it from.
And it's not that nice of a logo.
It really isn't,
but it works.
It's strikingly good. It's a big 12% ABV bourbon barrel aged imperial stout brewed by no other than Deschutes Brewing.
Deschutes.
What a great partner to have. So it's
especially for a stout.
Exactly. Boasting dark chocolate malt, milled oats, Dutch cocoa, and then it's aged for 9 months in Kentucky bourbon barrels.
I've heard it's really good. I've heard good things about it.
And it looks like it's decently priced. $9.99 for 22-ounce bottle.
Well, there's this.
That's a good drunk for $10.
I didn't know this, but Costco, like their model is, I don't think they can mark anything up by more than 15%.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
So on to our Sam Adams Utopias beer that are not legal everywhere. And the reason they are not legal everywhere is because some states suck. No, I'm just kidding. They have rules against being considered
me.
beer and it being of a certain percentage of alcohol. And apparently 28% is too high, which is not surprising because that's
horseshit.
a bonkersly high alcohol beer. But it sounds great. Yeah. So would you say 15 states it's above their beer regulation, so they're not allowed to have it.
Yeah.
It comes in at a whopping price point. It is not cheap. It's gonna be $240, a little bit more than Costco, for a 24.5 ounce bottle.
For only 2 more ounces, 2.5.
Sounds interesting. I would struggle coughing up that amount of money. I know with like Upslope, I think those were like 50, and that was tough. But it was Upslope, and like we adore them and love them. So that's 240 is a lot. I can get a bomb ass bottle of tequila for that price. You know what I mean?
I'd probably go in on it with some friends or something.
I mean, how many people are you gonna get out of a 24 ounce bottle?
2.
So one friend, you get into it with one friend.
Sam, let's buy a bottle. Sam would do it.
So yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. Would be willing to try it. I don't know if I'd cough up 240 for it. I mean, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm
somebody
sure
else buy it.
Right time and place. I'm sure I would. But currently, that just seems crazy. That's gotta be really good. And a lot of times, like those really boozy beers just get too syrupy for me, so they're not really my jam, anyways. But
also, I mean, living in the land of beer as we do, and when you've got Burns Ale and River North just down the road that are making big bomb beers like that.
18% is fine for me, guys. I don't.
They can
need
get
20.
up into the 20s.
I don't need 28. Like 18, I can survive on that. That's okay.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So there you go.
And then
we
get to continue our brew news with our final story. Did you know that some people are born to love and crave beer? Maybe not love, but they crave beer. And here is why.
Their mama liked to drink beer?
What are you talking about, Mom?
I don't know. I'm drunk.
So what this study discovered is when or before born, if you were exposed to testosterone, that it increases your likelihood to crave alcohol. And then in addition, apparently being exposed to additional testosterone has a different measurement on your pointer and your ring finger, and based on those measurements determines your predisposition for the booze love. It's interesting. And there's like 258 people, so there's not like a ton, but it's an interesting correlation.
That's pretty small. What is prenatal exposure to testosterone outside of the sperm infiltrating the egg? Like, in a good way.
Like if you took a testosterone pill while pregnant.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. I don't really know how else you get testosterone. Other than from a pill. Or your hormones. Maybe your hormones are wacky, so there's extra testosterone in your hormones.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I want to do this digit tester.
See how long they are. Yeah, what I'm not totally saying is if it's a link between the two. I feel like as a kid, you did that and you'd be like, if your fingers are lined up, love Charlie or whatever.
A lower 2-digit, 4-digit ratio where the ring finger is longer than the index finger is indicative of higher exposure to testosterone in the womb. Participants with this trait reported higher levels of alcohol consumption.
You have it on one hand.
No, on both.
Does that mean you drink with your left hand more often?
I had more but if I flip it this way, my pointer finger is taller than my ring finger.
Your bones and your arms.
Well, so which way is my hand supposed to face?
Probably this way. No, actually, it's probably this way. This is the anatomically correct.
Oh, yeah, that's how the man is.
Oh, yeah, the man is. The naked man with the lines around him.
So mine are about even.
The Da Vinci man?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Mine are about even.
Mine are about even.
I had equal parts testosterone and estrogen.
Look at you. Good job, Joni. She did great.
Joni and Jim, they did it right.
Right. If you want to send us pictures of your
Yeah, I wanna
index
see
and
your
ring
hands.
finger, feel free.
None of this. More of
Would be a really funny comment section of just like people sending pictures of their hands, and if someone hasn't watched it, they're like, "What the hell is going on in
that's
this
wrong.
comment section?" Anyways, that's
All
it.
right.
That's all I got. That's your brew news. Now you know more about beer than you did before. Congratulations.
we hope you feel smarter than you did.
Glad that we
earlier.
can teach you things.
That was fun, right? I always appreciate going through, I don't know, different levels of updates and quirky little studies. Like, keep it up,
Weird stuff.
people.
Weird
Keep
stuff.
finding more shit to talk about. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's how we made it.